Hi everyone, once again, as you know that we are in continuation of chapter 5, principles of inheritance and variations, right? So then we had given in the last session, in last class, what we have done, we have told about the Mendel's experiment, in which plant, why his work is not recognized, everything we had told in that. So now today we will discuss the Mendel's law of inheritance. So that previous class I told about the dominant trait and recessive trait. As in class 10th also you have done dominant traits which are exposed, recessive traits which are not exposed, but they will occur in second F2 generation. Now then, how to write? What is a way of to write dominant trait? So then dominant trait always represented by capital letters and recessive traits by small letters. As we have taken example of tall plant, that will be capital T. Tall is dominant trait, dominant, and short small t for short, right? So that is a recessive. We have done this in previous class. Now that is the, as you know, dominant trait and recessive trait. Like this, Mendel had discovered by pure breeding line. That is 7 contrasting traits are there, which we had discussed in previous class. Today we will show that what is Mendel's law. Before that, we have told, I want to tell you about test cross, right? That is test cross. It's very important. Number of times in board exams, test cross will be there. Now, what is test? When we are using that word test, means to check that cross which we are doing that cross, in that for knowing that what is the genetic genotype of that, what is that genotype of that particular plant. So now then, what he had done in that test cross, what we have done, as in for dominant trait, they are maybe homozygous as well as heterozygous. Means in that case, capital T tall, and capital T and small t, that is also tall plant, while genotype is different. Means that is a heterozygous, this one hetero and this one homo. But in both case whether hetero or homo, then they are showing tall trait, tallness, height of the plant in that case. So now here the test cross, why we are doing, to know what is the actual genotype of that dominant plant or dominant trait. Means if suppose 2 plants are there, means suppose white, white color, recessive trait in pea plant, Pisum sativum, that is white plant, white flower, you can say white flower, that will be recessive trait, and purple flower or violet flower, that is dominant trait, right? When we are talking about dominant trait, so we are not knowing whether this dominant trait is heterozygous or homozygous. Means how can we know that? How can we know that whether this dominant trait flower is the genotype is heterozygous or homozygous? Are you getting me? Means I told in previous class, what I told, that in dominant trait, for dominant trait, that will be maybe tall plants are there, maybe any other dominant trait, so that will be homozygous or heterozygous. In both it can be. If we are not knowing about that, what is the actual, whether it is homozygous or heterozygous, we will do test cross, right? It's very important. Again, I am telling, it's very important. Test cross to know the actual genotype of dominant trait. Means here we are taking violet flower and white flower. The recessive trait, already we know that. Recessive always it will be homozygous. There is no question of any other. Means if white flower, we know that is recessive trait, it means that genotype of it fixed. Already we know that genotype small t. That is, sorry, we can change here. T for tallness we are using, height. So flower we can use white flower. So then white flower is small recessive. Means for recessive trait, that genotype always homozygous. If it will be heterozygous, so that will show dominant trait, so that at that time it is not white flower. So shortness also we can say here, shortness, small t, homozygous means shortness. In that case only it will expose in generation when it will be homozygous. It is clear? It is homozygous. So means here, it means suppose we know that there is a violet flower. Phenotype we can see that violet flower. Violet flower we know dominant trait, but in this case we don't know whether it is homozygous or heterozygous. So for knowing it, for to test this, for checking this, whether what is it, homo or high, means we don't know about the homozygous or heterozygous. So now then what we will do, for this we are doing test cross. So you know the Punnett square, earlier that will be Punnett square. That suppose that Punnett was a biologist and who had given this formula for that square. Now then, you know, diploid condition, two gametes are there. So now then suppose here this one. So one gamete capital T here maybe, and small t here maybe. So what will be there? What we will get here? T, capital T, small t, capital T, this one multiply this and this, and here T, and then what will be here? We will get, so what we are getting in all are heterozygous. In F1 generation we all are getting heterozygous, and in heterozygous they all are tall. In that is a F1 generation. In the same, when any generation we want to find out, so we can make like this. This is square. That is called Punnett square. Punnett is the name of that scientist. So now then here we will use this Punnett square here also. But here though two cases are there, maybe homo or maybe hetero. Homozygous means it will be, maybe it will be like this. Homozygous, that will both are same, so both are dominant, capital. Now then, if maybe it may be possible that it will be heterozygous, means like this. Is it clear? We can show that one here. This one will show red color, right? Recessive trait. Here we can show that one recessive trait like this. Okay. So now then here white flower, because we know that that is a recessive trait. For recessive trait always it will be homozygous, so there is no question for that. But in that case we have to check, we have to test for knowing this, we have to test to know this whether it is homozygous or heterozygous. So now this maybe it may be, what it will be, maybe it will be homozygous, both are in capital form, and that maybe it will be in heterozygous, one is capital, other one small. So now then that is showing recessive for. So now then we will use this Punnett square, and then what will be the condition? Maybe here one Punnett square, okay, and one Punnett square is there. In both cases, okay, we can write like this. Now then what will happen, because you know that whether it will be, maybe it will be homozygous, right? When we know here that will be in both cases, that will be in that both will be in this white flower, recessive. In both cases we have got here, that will be also in, okay, because in both cases we are maybe that will be homozygous. So then it will be cross in that case, means here when we are using here homozygous, and here we are using heterozygous, which we know that whether it will be. So we are trying to find out by this test cross whether that is a dominant trait will be homozygous or heterozygous. So then are you getting this one? It's okay. Means here we have used the two Punnett square. We will try to do that one, hit and trial. Means this is fixed. We know that in both cases that is like this. So now maybe we can imagine that that violet flower, purple flower may be homozygous. Maybe homozygous. So we are multiplying by, we are making cross with this homozygous, right? So we can write here homozygous gamete will be this one and this one. Okay. Now then we are imagining that maybe it will be that heterozygous, means here that will multiply by this. So now then what will happen here? Now what are the gametes here? Here 1, right, and here, clear? It's okay. Means 2 Punnett square. We are amusing the means we are doing means such hit and trial. We are trying whether that will be crossed by homozygous or maybe it will be crossed by heterozygous. So in that homozygous we have written here. So then gametes are formed here, capital, in both are in capital form, dominant. Here when maybe it will be heterozygous, this one condition is there. In that condition then we have got this capital and then small. This is the condition. Now we will see what type of flowers we are getting. Now then here we will see both will multiply, then we will get here and here and here, and then recessive trait is like this. That means you see in that generation all we are getting purple or violet, because capital W is everywhere. We see that capital letter is there, it means that is dominant trait is there. So in everywhere we will see that will be all are, you can say here all are purple flowers. All flowers are purple. But what will happen in that case? We will see here when they multiply here, then and then here you can say this one, this one, this one, this one, this one. Means here we are multiplying this and this. Capital black is dominant and then recessive, then dominant and recessive. Here we will see both are recessive. In that case, in this condition, these are white, because these are the homozygous, and homozygous recessive there, a small letter. So that will be both are homozygous white. And here we will see that will become purple. Purple means because this one is dominant. Heterozygous, that will be heterozygous but purple. Right? Means here what we will see that 50-50. Here 50-50. 50 are purple and 50 are white. Or 50 are violet and 50 are, means that will be 50% here. Here all are purple. Here 50-50. Means half is purple and half is white. Both are equal. So now see, when we are doing this cross, if we are getting generation in that all flowers are purple flowers, all flowers are purple or violet, same purple or violet. So now then in that case we can see that dominant trait is homozygous. When we have got, when the result is there, when we have got all are purple or violet, so in that case what we can say that dominant trait flower, dominant trait is homozygous. What will we say? Homozygous. But in the second Punnett square, what we are getting here? 50-50 means when 50% that is purple and 50% white, recessive trait. So then it means that dominant trait will be heterozygous, homozygous. Is that clear? It's very important. Again, it's very simple. Only you just try to understand that this one, why we are doing test cross. Test cross to know the dominant trait, what is the genotype of dominant trait, whether that is heterozygous or homozygous in that case. Because why? Because in When we talk about recessive trait, so the recessive trait always will be homozygous. So there is no question to find that one whether homozygous, heterozygous. If they are showing recessive trait, it means 100% sure that will be recessive. Okay. So now then, when we talk about this violet or purple, violet, you can write purple also, purple. In that case, that is dominant trait. In that dominant trait, there are two types of genotype it can be. Maybe that will be homozygous or maybe it will be heterozygous. So then here we know that we want to assure that that dominant trait is a homo or hetero. So for that we are making a cross. And when we are trying to we are assuming that this dominant trait will be homozygous. So then we are making in a Punnett square, we are making a cross. If we are thinking that dominant trait will be homozygous. So then homozygous gametes are capital W, and then small, that is a white flower, that is recessive. So in that case, what we are getting here, we are getting in that generation all are purple flowers after that cross. Now but second cross again we are trying to do that, we assume that will be heterozygous, then we are making cross like this. So then we are getting, the result is that 50% we are getting dominant and 50% we are getting recessive, means purple dominant or recessive. So then we can think about that, if we are getting such type of flower in that offspring, all offspring are bearing these white purple flower, it means we can say blindly we can say that will be homozygous. The dominant trait is homozygous. But when we are getting the such means some are purple, some are approximate, they are both are the numbers are same, means both purple and white we are getting in a equal or 50-50. So when we are getting such type of result after crossing this, so then we can say that cross of dominant for this dominant trait, that will be heterozygous, which we are showing by doing this cross. And then we can 100% sure that if it is aura purple, 100% sure that it will be dominant trait will be homozygous. When we will see that is the 50-50 is there, then it will be that is a heterozygous. So that is this such cross is called test cross. And in test cross, only why we are doing test cross, to know the genotype of dominant trait, whether it is homozygous or heterozygous. It depends on the result, whatever we are getting. So in both we are assuming that purple flower is there, we were thinking that is homozygous. So then we are making cross like this. When we are assuming that is a heterozygous, then we are making cross like this. In both cases, if we are getting such results in both cases, then we can say that one is a homozygous and heterozygous. This is called test cross. Is that clear, beta? So now then, just go revise again. You go through that book also. It is given a book also. So then, if you not understand, then you can ask in next class. So now then, this will be test cross. So now then, what is the Mendel's law of inheritance? So here, Mendel had told, as in previous class I told about the ratio, because Mendel used mathematic ratio. So now then, in F1 generation, they all are the same. They are showing dominant trait, and in F2 generation we are getting in phenotype ratio. Phenotype ratio means physical appearance. So we are getting in phenotype 3:1. Phenotype ratio what we have got, 3:1. And genotype we are getting here in second F2 generation, that will be 1:2:1. That Mendel had shown, which was at the time that will be discarded by then scientists. They were telling in biology how mathematics can be involved, but that is true. So now then, the first law of Mendel, that given law of dominance. What he had told? Law of dominance. First, in your book is also given there. I will just show you law of dominance. That is the first law of Mendel's. For inheritance means we see the first he had told that these alleles are in paired form, whether that is a dominant trait or recessive trait. So in gamete formation, when at the time of gamete formation, only one will come in one gamete, haploid condition. Here that will be means among these two, between these two, one will come in one gamete. So they are segregating in one. Right, the first he had told. Then he had told these are, after crossing that, from these each organism having the diploid condition, that will be coming in that next generation. As we see that when we are multiplying this one, so T, capital T and small t, we are getting like this. We are getting like this. So now what will happen here? In that case, that will be in two. It is one here, one here. Means in each offspring we are getting both. Means one is this and one is this. Here one is this, one is this. Means these gametes will come in that, and that is no blending is there. So I will show you that one also here. That first page number you can take out, 75, law of dominance. In law of dominance, just see that characters are controlled by discrete units called factors. Means as you know, Mendel told at the time no genes are there. So Mendel, what they had told? They had told factors, and then he had told, yesterday I told about these factors. Means he had told that these states are, that these states which are shown by any organisms in their generation because of factors. Means these characteristics are, these states are, first the states are controlled by factors. Now it is called genes, because at the time no genes, no nucleus, so he had told that name is factors. Something is there which are controlling these traits which are shown by organisms in their generation. So then they have written factors are controlled by discrete units called factors. Second point, factors occurs in pairs. Means these are always in paired. And that genes, you know that factors, now genes, now then that will be occur in factors, and they are having alleles. Alleles are traits. So then that factors are in paired. So then these alleles are also in paired. Alleles are traits which are, so now these factors are in paired. Right, in paired. So now then these points are given by first law of Mendel's law of dominance, that is called law of dominance. So here what the third point is, in a dissimilar trait of factors. Dissimilar trait means that one. Dissimilar traits means that one, heterozygous. Dissimilar. Here in a dissimilar pair of factors, one member of the pair dominates the other, means that will be recessive and dominant. Means when we talk about this one, dissimilar, heterozygous, you can say dissimilar or you can say heterozygous. So what will happen here? What Mendel has told? That we told in between these two, in one pair, one will dominate over the other. Means here you can say capital, we are showing capital T dominant. So one will dominate over it. Means T will be recessive, small t will be recessive, and capital T will be dominant. So here told in third point, in dissimilar pairs, in dissimilar pair, that one heterozygous you can say, here you can say heterozygous. In heterozygous, one will be dominant and other will be recessive. These points are given by Mendel in, that is called, this is called law of dominance. Means law of dominance, first we will see these all traits are controlled by factors, discrete unit. Second, that I told, then all these factors are in paired form. Do you know today after the nucleus, discovery of nucleus, then chromosomes, DNA, then genes, so then that will be fit. All that will, what he had told, that is fit now after genes also. So now then you know chromosomes are in paired. In chromosomes then DNA is there, in DNA the genes are there. So now then factors are in paired. Now then third point, that what he had told, in dissimilar pair. In dissimilar pair you can say heterozygous when we talk about like this. So here he had told one will be dominant over others. Means as in case of this heterozygous dissimilar pair, here capital T is dominant and small t is recessive. So this is the first law of dominance. And everywhere we have seen, whether we have done test cross, here also we have seen dominancy. one capital letter is showing by dominant trait. When we are talking axial, terminal, whatever the characteristics we are taking in that that will be fit for this. So now then again we can, one more thing we can tell this. Then the first, is that clear beta? These are the statements of law of dominance. Three are points are given in a book also. Now then if we will do, one more thing is there. In that you can see that in this, just imagine that we are making cross here, tall and short plant, right? We are made cross, again we can write here, we are making a cross capital T and a small t, right? So then capital T, that is a dominant trait. So then we are getting gamete here. I told you yesterday that gamete will be always encircled. Okay, that is the pattern and that is the rule for writing these. These are parents, these are gametes. So here we can say that is recessive trait. Now then we can show like this, right? Means paired, from paired factors or genes we are getting here single. Okay. Now then in F1 generation, when we talk about F1 generation, so what we are getting here, all are heterozygous. Means here that one, then here these are dissimilar. F1 generation, and we will see here all are tall. Means that will be, in that case in F1 generation we will see, it means we can see that this shortness is not anywhere. We can say that this gene of that or that factors of this shortness is not occurring here. It means it is disappeared. But F1 generation it disappeared, but again in phenotype externally we will see that. So now the second generation again automatically it will be reappeared. How it will be? When again we are making it this cross, so then we will see here, suppose self cross is there, self cross in the same generation when we are making cross. So then what we are getting here, this one 1:2, here 1:2:1, this one and this one, we are getting like this. Means here these are tall, this is also tall, this is also tall, and that is short. So now then that will be here all three are 1, 2, 3, 3:1. Means here that is in F1 generation phenotype ratio is 3:1. Means that shortness in parents they are there. In parents that shortness is there. But in for F1 generation no one is not a single plant is short. So then we are seeing all are tall. But again that shortness gene or factor will reappear here. It means here is not blending. Means they are not mixed. They are not mixed, only that will be what will be dominant trait. Means only because of dominance, law of dominance, one will be dominant, other one will become recessive. Because of that in F1 generation we are not showing that shortness factors or shortness traits we are not seeing in this generation. Not any single plant is short. But in F2 generation, when we will come to the F2 generation, that is also called filial generation. That is filial, F2, F4 region filial generation, and this is we are getting here. When we want to talk, this is a phenotype. This one is a phenotype ratio, 3:1. When we talk about genotype ratio, so this is only 1. This is only 1. These are two same. So here what we are getting here, 1:2:1. That is we are getting this one 1:2:1. That is your, this ratio is a genotype ratio. So here in this law of dominance, Mendel's law of dominance, what is that? Only then that factors are, that all traits are controlled by factors, and now then that will be in paired, that factors are occurred in paired, and in that dissimilar pair or in heterozygous, one will be dominant over others. Okay, and then touch cross is also very important. Then genotype phenotype ratio also there. So now the next class you will see the next rule of next law of dominance. Is that clear? So we will see, just go through that chapter topic, and then if you are not getting, then again you can ask. So, okay.